UR relations that we have, no one, no matter like class in society or the university departments that we engage, we put in a tracker so everyone can know like who's engaging, like which part of the university, stuff like that. So that's why I named this session RFR lah. Okay, then today I'll be talking about like university relations and how we do it in JB. I've actually made this into like 3 processes, and then it's related to the PM terms, which is like get, develop, and get, keep, and develop. So if there's PM, like very PM people here, I'm sorry if I use the wrong terms or anything. Okay, so the get process, how we actually get the relations, establish the relations with UR, right? So the first thing is we utilize like the connections that we had at the moment, and then so it's just like I just want to do like a sensing with you all, right? So how well do you know your club advisor? Maybe you guys can annotate and then share to me like how close you are to your club advisor. Okay, Chunhua is the second brain. Anyone is like galaxy brain here also? Okay. Just the sensing, right? Do you guys actually get to choose your own like club advisor, or is it someone that's just appointed to you? Like, here's your club advisor. Oh, it's appointed. Okay. Actually, for us, right, we cannot choose, but we can suggest, like we can appoint someone from our side, and then university they can consider for us. Okay, I see most of you guys like who's your club advisor, but you never like, or you rarely talk to them. Okay, so wait, let me. Hey, how do I clear annotate? Can I clear? Okay. All right, then. Okay, good to know. So I think this session might be quite insightful for you guys. So okay, because for us for JB, we are quite close with our club advisor, and then his name is Dr. Zaidi. He's a very cute person, I would say, and then he's very fun. You see, like you can see here, like we our president sometimes will like find him for like things, and then he'll suddenly just send the picture of the things he cooked or the things he prepared with his wife, and then send to us, and then so our relationship is quite great. And then we also have like meetings with him, but it's not monthly, it's not consistent, but rather like whenever he is free and then he wants updates from us, then we will have a meeting with him and stuff like that. And then this was actually our first time meeting him as a EB team. And then he's quite fun to be with her. And then one thing about him is that he's actually a director of UTM Excite. So UTM Excite is actually one of the university departments in our university. That's quite a big department, okay? Can say he's actually someone who stays in the university for a long time, has a lot of connections in the university. So I think he's the main reason, I would say, why we are having like such strong connections with the universities now. And then from this club advisor, right, actually he, like I said, he stayed in the university for a long time, and he's also a director of a university department, so he knows a lot of things like about our university. So actually you get a lot of intel, a lot of internal information from our club advisor. I think this thing you can remember, and then later I will bring it out again on what are the things that he actually told us. So for him, since he stayed in the university for a long time, he knows which department that we can approach to get like funding, to get support, all this stuff. So we always tell him like the problems that we are facing or the support that we need, and then what he would do is he would recommend us and then provide guidance on like which department exactly to approach, so we have much more effective engagement instead of like approaching everyone and then not getting responses. And then other than that, he was also like the bridge between us, like Isaac and the UR departments. Since he's a director, so he's having connection with the other directors and all that. So he actually brought us this connection like between all these other directors of the departments. So okay, another good thing about this club advisor is actually he's quite influential in UTM, I would say. So it's because of him we kind of got like a quite good branding, I would say, among UTM. So when other like departments or other clubs, when they hear about Isaac, they would say, oh, Isaac very good, oh, Isaac very international, oh, Isaac a lot of volunteer, stuff like that. So this is something like I would say having like, a very good like club advisor for you is important. Yeah. Then second thing is actually, I mean, the second point of how we got this, like, established relationships with this, like, UR is knowing like your university. So I guess these are just like some questions that you can, ask yourself like in your university, right? So do you know like your university's like goals and KPI, especially in terms of like student developments? Yeah, you might not know, but then internally they actually have a lot of goals, a lot of KPI that they wish to achieve every year for their student development. And then other things are like, does your university have like sustainability initiatives or any department in charge of like the campus sustainability, stuff like that? And then does your university like allocate funds for student development? I think these are the things that you can try to find out and like do some research in your own university to know. Okay. Yeah. So okay, so actually for our university, when you go into like our website, you can already see like, oh, they already I would say it's a blessing for us is that our university itself is already quite SDG aligned. Yeah, a lot of university departments, they're having like SDG logo on their like website. And also we also have like a university department that does campus sustainability lah. And then they're focusing on all the, you can see they're focusing on all the what's that called, SDGs. Yeah, so it's quite a blessing. But then I would say UTM is not the only government university that really emphasizes on SDG. Like if I'm not mistaken, USM is also a university that emphasizes a lot on SDG lah. I know this because our club advisor always tell us that UTM is always second when it comes to SDG in campus, and then USM is always the first lah. Okay, so this is how I know. Yeah, so that's why this is something that you can do much more research on like your university. Yeah, and then so from there we found out that our university is SDG aligned and we have campus sustainability initiative, and that is another thing, right? Okay, I'm just sharing here like a lecture, one of my lecture slides. Okay, you can see our template, right? Down there you can see it actually says innovative, entrepreneurial, and global. And you can see actually this is where our university focuses a lot on like entrepreneurial activities or like innovation projects, stuff like that. And that is where you can actually, having one of our project, right? The reason why we decided to pivot it towards like business challenge and innovation projects is due to like this is like one of the reasons because we know UTM focuses a lot on like innovation projects and those, and then we know we can get a lot of support from them. So that's why that's one of the reasons why we decided to pivot one of our projects from like education based to like entrepreneurial project, I would say. Yeah. Then after knowing that, we secure meetings with them, and then we got sales on. I would say I was quite happy for my term because, to be honest, we are not really having like in summer, right? We're not really doing great in FP sales, so they're always there like to support us when we say we need support for our project, not only just monetary wise, but this I'll explain more later on. Yeah, sorry. Okay, regarding this university's internal information from our club advisor, right? There are other things also, like other research or information that you need to have before you approach these, like I would say UR departments because sometimes these departments are not really transparent with you. They don't really tell you, like, I mean, in our case, they don't really tell us what exactly that they want. They just, after seeing through your proposal, after seeing through your pitch, and then they will just let you know, oh, I will sponsor you or I will not sponsor you, stuff like that. I don't know if it's like this for other universities, but it's like that for us. So previously, for the first few years when we engaged the URs, it was not successful for us because we don't really know what they want, and they're not transparent enough like to tell us what they want. So actually, we found out from our club advisor is that he sent us a whole folder telling us that actually our university is actually having their own internal goals or KPI for each SDG. Yeah, and then he also shared to us, I don't know if it's supposed to be like confidential information or what, but he shared to us like what are the KPI for each SDG that these departments they want to achieve. And then from there on, we can see what are the tangible KPI like from our project we can contribute to this UR. And then when we go to meeting, when we pitch to our partner, that is what the things that we would emphasize or highlight out to them. Yeah, and then we also found out that actually these UR departments where they are like focusing on SDGs, they actually have funds allocated to do this like SDG projects and stuff like that. Yeah, and then one of the main bottlenecks also we found out about our university departments is that they have all these funds, they have all these KPI, but then in the end they don't have people to help them organize projects or organize events to help them to reach this KPI. So I guess this is like quite I think can be relatable to other government universities as well. Yeah, because this is something related to like the government initiatives as well lah. Like yeah, actually they do have student funds allocated, like student development funds allocated to the universities lah. So you just need to know how to go right and find the money. Yeah, find to get the fund. Okay, then yeah, we found out about their pains and gains. So that's why we were able to usually engage them within two meetings, and then we were able to get sponsorship from them already there, because we already know what they want. So in the first meeting, we directly pitch the things that they want, and then how we can. You can always emphasize in your pitch, right, is to emphasize how your project can benefit them and how you can bring in like the resources. I would say like the resources you get outside, or you can benefit them, and that's the things that they actually like to hear lah. Okay, yeah, you can emphasize on the things that, for example, you want to have how many, for example, for clean up plate project, you can talk about how many food waste, like the target that you wish to collect, and how much compost, the compost you want to regenerate, stuff like that lah. Yeah, and then yeah, so okay, then other than that, finding out like the pains and gains, and also there's actually a lot of opportunities, I would say, out there from our universities, and then these are the things you can always like take note of that, and then you can always join the university like blast groups in Telegram or whatever, like the platform that they use, right? You can always follow them. And actually this is how we actually got our summer grant, is because we got this poster, and then we got this information from one of our blast group, and then we decided to apply, and then that's how we got it lah. And then other than that, we also have like incentive all of this, because they didn't use all the funds allocated to them, so that's why they decided to give incentive to the projects that has already been carried out lah. Yeah, and then that's like all for the get process, I would say. Yeah, then I'll go to the keep process. Okay, just how we, I would say, nurture, and how we keep the relationship with them. So to be honest, our keep is not really a lot, but what we usually do is just we will do like our monthly UR newsletter, but we call them as club activity report lah. Yeah, so you can see we will usually send like these monthly club activity reports to the university departments that we are engaged with, and also the connections that our club advisor has brought to us. And then yeah, that's how we always keep them updated, let them know that we are still doing things, even though it's still virtual, and then everyone is still back at home. Yeah, and then other than that, right, is that this is something that we plan to venture into, which means which is like adopting UR representatives, like for example, the director of a certain UR department to be like your project advisor. So this is a bit different than club advisor, I would say. This is something that we plan to do in winter, maybe, is that we plan to adopt the UR representative from like the campus sustainability branch to be one of our project advisors, so we can we can have like directions, and we can have feedbacks from our advisor on how we can, on our project framework, I would say. This is how actually you can nurture them and then keep the relationship. So you're not only engaging them when you need money or when you need support from them. Yeah. So that's what we plan to do. And then that's all for my key process. Okay. Then I'll go to the develop process. I think this is quite, this will be focusing more on like the pros and the opportunities that we actually got from our good UR relationships built with our UR. Okay. Yeah, so if you look into this picture, it's actually from my predecessor. So this is actually a meeting held with one of the referral we got from our UR. And then yeah, we actually formed, in the end, we able to form like financial partnership with a UR referral with the partner. Okay. Yeah, and then the partner is actually also someone who is quite into youth initiatives, and I would say it's a good partner. Yeah, and then the next thing is that we got to connect to different the URs that we connected to, they actually connected us to different university clubs and also the student council of our campus, of our university lah. So from there you can see actually we are able to go, we are able to be connected to them, and then we were invited to, we have the connection to, they became our media partners, okay, for the university clubs. And then they're able to, you can see they helped us to blast our Isaac messages. And then we were invited to kind of like a student affairs meeting with other club universities as well as Isaac inside that. Yeah, and then other than that, like I'm not sure like what happened, but then somehow my number was like spread around in the students affairs department. And then there were a time where actually one day I had like around 3 calls from 3 different people in the students affairs department lah. Yeah, so you can see that this is how they, how utilizing your UR you can actually get through to different departments of your university. And then we also found out that in our student affair department, they also have allocate funds not only to projects that are related to UTM students, stuff like that. So yeah, we got connected to different people through our university relations. And then lastly, I think this is quite a miracle thing actually, is that we're able to get support from UR in the form of like free transportation from UR. Yeah. And then I'm not sure if it's the same with other universities, but for UTM, right, actually our efficiency is quite it's terrible. Okay, if you need like anything processed, you need about like 1 month, 2 months like that. But then this is a very miracle thing. Actually, we asked for a transportation support from the UR, and then within 1 day we already got the transportation arranged for us, and it's for free again. So yeah, this is like the benefits, I would say, if let's say you have a good relations with established with the UR like representative or the PIC, stuff like that lah. Yeah, and then okay, my point is that having all of these opportunities or all of these like pros after having like a good UR relationships, I would say there are still a lot of opportunities and a lot of things that we can leverage on from our university relations. Like for example, we can actually tap into the university alumni network through the UR, yeah, and especially through the student affairs like department. And then other than that, actually for government universities, we can actually utilize the connection we have with our university to tap into like state governments opportunities. Like for example, the grant that I mentioned is actually blasted out to us from our university, like to our president, our club president, I would say. Yeah, so not a lot of people know about this opportunity. And then yeah, this is where you can leverage on it. And then other than that, there's a lot of resources also from the government that they can provide or they can connect you to, and let's say you have like good relations. So I would say yeah, actually, yeah, the main point here is that having a good relationship with your UR is not only just you're not only just like the benefit is not only just you getting a monetary support from them, but you can see there's a lot of opportunities, there's a lot of like things you can leverage on. That is not only that sometimes money cannot provide to you as well. Yeah, and then okay, I'll proceed to the next part. It's actually like the tips and tricks. If let's say you plan to engage like the UR in your school, this is just based on our experience, a lot of failures that have been done from our side to learn. Okay. Yeah, so for the first thing, this is very, very important. Okay, don't propose FP sales packages to your UR. I don't know if it's like applicable to other universities, but then usually for universities, for government universities, I would say, most UR sponsorships are actually like reimbursement basis. And then they are more likely to provide sponsorships to cover for your project fee rather than, if we propose FP sales packages to them. Because in our sales package, we have costs like, HR, all of those, right? Actually, they don't really accept this kind of costs. They only, you can see like in our what's that called? We call them kertas kerja. I forgot what's that called in English. But yeah, you can see that our sponsorship from UTM CS is actually just for the competition prizes, and that is considered as a project fee. And then usually they will ask a lot. They will ask a lot on like, oh, you put the pricing, like for example 500 for this thing, but then do you really need it? Like, do you really use it? Stuff like that. So it will be better if, let's say, you propose them your project fee, and then you ask for sponsorship from them to cover the project fee lah. Yeah, this is something we learned mistake because we got scolded when we proposed FP sales packages to UR. Okay, but once again, it's not it might not be relevant to your university, but yeah, it's something you can take note lah. Okay, yeah, and then next thing is UR bureaucracy. Yeah, okay. Same thing also. I'm not sure if it's applicable to your university, but for us, right, you need to prepare like a lot of documents for the sponsorship, like application process of your UR lah. Yeah, and then the things you need to take note of is like the format and the letterhead, etc. of your documents. Like you can see here for UTM, we have a very specific letterhead and very specific like format of a letter or stuff like that. You can see, and use that instead of using like maybe Isaac. I know Isaac is having like our own like letterhead, but then if you're dealing with UR, it's better to use like universities like documents format lah. Yeah, and then because we got scolded for this again, so yeah. Then the next thing is actually from my experience, like usually it takes a minimum of 2 months to get like the approval letter from universities after they agree to sponsor us. So actually this 2 months is actually not counted in the time you had first meeting with them, the time you had follow-up meeting with them, the time you prepare like proposal, or you first contact them lah. Okay, so I guess you need to plan out your time. If let's say you need to plan out your timeline, if let's say you really plan to engage your UR, and then yeah, make sure it's you engage earlier lah. Okay, because universities, they usually have a lot of departments. It's a lot of bureaucracy. Usually you'll get like passed around one, because to be honest, getting this sponsorship letter is very pain in the ass, because we got passed around like a ball from this person to the other person to the other person to the other person, and then in the end that's how we got the letter lah. Okay, yeah, these are just like the things to take note. And then third thing is important thing is understanding like your university gains. For example, for UTM, right, they actually really like it when we bring like the UTM name in the things that we do, like for example our partners meeting and our national events, like stuff like that lah. So you can see actually the proposal that we proposed to our university, right, is we're not actually called Isaac in JB, but we call ourselves Isaac in UTM lah. Okay, because they really like it when we bring the UTM name to everywhere we go. And yeah, you can see we customize usually our UR proposals to rename ourselves Student Chapter Isaac in UTM. But I guess for Isaac in UMS, you already have your own university name in your your LC, then it'll be fine. But then this is something might need to be taken note of for other LCs. Yeah, actually these are all for my tips and tricks. Okay, so yeah, my session is almost ended. So key takeaways, right? First is definitely get a good club advisor if possible. Like you can see that you can definitely I don't know if this is something you can discuss with your team, like to get a good advisor, but then from what I know is that you can actually suggest the club advisor that you want, and then to the university, and let them to consider lah. Okay, then second thing is know your university students development goals and KPIs, and then that's where you can actually have effective engagement with them. And then third thing is that your UI is one of your biggest support, and then not only in terms of monetary, because like I said, you can tap into a lot of the connection, a lot of the networks. You can even get resources for free from them if you're having good relations with them. Yeah, and then your university might be a gold mine, so plug and play with your resources. Okay, I think that's all for my part. I think this is just like a consolidation space for you all. So a few questions you can ask yourself. What is your university strength? Is that something that you can leverage on with your LC? And then what is the network that you can establish through your university relations? Or maybe what are the conversations you wish to bring back to your team? Your team can be your EB team, yeah, or your own PD team to discuss after this session. Yeah, so that's all from me. Yeah, we can proceed to Q&A if you guys have any questions.
Thanks, Natalie. Okay, it's Q&A time. Okay. Yeah, I'll let you guys proceed with your Q&A.
Yeah. I hope I didn't bore you guys. It's much more of just lecture. Yeah.
Yes, I got a question for you, Natalie. So how
Hello.
often do you meet your club advisor? Like every single time your EB has, any one of the EBs has initiated a meeting, like you go meet them, or like is there a routine?
To be honest, our club advisor is quite busy. Like he's actually pursuing his PhD currently. So actually we do plan to have like meetings with him monthly, but then he's busy. So usually we do updates through email or through WhatsApp lah. But let's say if we have meeting, right? We'll just schedule a meeting with him if it's really urgent, or let's say it's an important matter lah. And then for who's attending the meeting, I would say it depends. For us, usually we just go to the meeting for people, I mean for the VPs who are involved in, let's say, the matter that we'll be discussing. Yeah. But I guess you can always have a consistent routine with your club advisor if, let's say, they're free. So you can do like updates. You can update them on your like progress and stuff like that.
Okay, thanks, Natalie.
You're welcome.
I want to ask one question. How do you start meeting your club advisor? No, I mean like not in a literal sense, like I mean like how to say
How
like,
we got him to be our club advisor, is it?
No. Okay. So like for the first time, right? You can't just go to him and say, hey, I want to know some insider information from the university, right? So how do you approach him for the first time and then slowly build up the connection, slowly build up the relationship? Yeah.
Actually, the first time we approached him, like the first EV picture you saw was actually when we were just elected, and then we went to see this our club advisor lah, to meet with him. And then I'm not sure about how your other club advisors are, but ours is quite nice. But then we don't straight directly say, oh, tell me what is the KPI of the university or stuff like that. You can be much more, this is kind of like a sales conversation. You can twist your word a bit. You can say, oh, we're actually facing this issue, or you can say like, oh, we approach this university relation department, but they don't apply. You can ask him maybe, do you know about this UR department, and then why they are not replying? Is there anything we did wrong or stuff like that? Yeah.
Okay. Thanks, Natalie. I know already.
I mean, it's important to like, if your club advisor is someone that's resourceful. Yeah.
Oh yeah, then another question. So now our club advisor is actually one of the I think she's the assistant dean for the F.
Oh, that's better.
For the what is it? The shit, I forgot what faculty. I forgot the English name of the faculty. I know the short form. Yeah. I think it's from the business background one. But how to say? But we would like to get an advisor, like for example, for your case is like get an advisor directly involved with the the student development one, like say from the HEP one. So is it wise to actually suggest a change of club advisors, or would you advise not to do so?
Do you have do you guys have terms for your club advisor? When is she ending term? Do you know that?
A very good question. We don't know.
Usually the club advisors are appointed in government universities. They're appointed and then they have a term one. Like for us, this club advisor is with us for 4 years, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So you can actually find the letter. You can correct like the letter of appointment. It's something that they will usually keep in the Google Drive. That's how we found out. Yeah.
Okay.
And then I would say it's not wise to to ask for another advisor lah. But like I said, I mean you can also utilize project advisor as a chance to nurture like other connections. You can just, for example, you have Speak Up project, right? So instead of club advisor, you can use Speak Up project to find an advisor in your university, I would say.
Okay, cool. Thank
But
you.
then definitely your club advisor needs to know about this. Yeah.
Okay. Thanks.
I got
Actually, I'm not
question.
sure how much time do I have there. Yeah.
I think we have around 2 minutes, but then it's fine. Yeah, because today the agenda more like can have more questions. Anyways, so you mentioned about the don't propose FP sales package thing. So like normally they don't accept HR costs and then they only accept like the project project operation costs except for HR costs, is it?
Yeah. They actually only, like I said, it's only reimbursement basis. So you actually need to have actual receipts or actual transactions happening as a proof for them, so you can reimburse back.
Okay. I'm not sure you are able to answer the next question or not, but then let's say if we go into back to physical or hybrid project, then we have expenses that I don't know, like paper or okay, I can only think of paper for now, but yeah, any physical costs, then would you be able to claim them also? Or like transportation?
Transportation. To be honest, for us, we can get free transportation for them, so it's no need to claim. Paper project wise, this one I'm not really sure. But how we do is how to say for example, we involve them in like pitching competition for our COP, right? So they are the judges of the pitching competition and they're also the sponsors of the pitching competition, like the cash prize sponsors. So I would say it would be better if, let's say, you ask them to sponsor, but you also involve them in your activity. Like, yeah.
Oh, you continue about something?
No. I mean, this is just what I have in my life. Like for those physical costs, I'm not really sure. Yeah. Because previously the UR connection was not that strong in physical context, I would say. Yeah.
Then mainly for your UR newsletter, right? What would you cover?
We basically it's actually a slide, Google Slides that we just basically cover the things that we have done in that month. For example, if we have any LC touch points, it's like B2B summit. It's also something that we can mention to them. Like we send out a team of UTM students from Isaac to join B2B summit to learn about blah, 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 stuff like that. Yeah, it's just these things. Or for example, for project realization, then we'll explain to them what happened that week. Yeah. I mean that month. Yeah.
Okay, so far we have more questions. Thankfully today we have a little bit more time. So if you have, you can ask.
So usually who is the one that's writing the UR newsletter?
President.
Okay.
But then I would say still depends on your LC lah. Sometimes I think mostly it's FL who is much more in contact with students affairs, but then our president, I mean our LCP is like, how to say we have a lot of WhatsApp group, like Telegram groups where the university actually gather all the club presidents. Yeah. So usually the LCP is like the representative of Isaac, so that's why our LCP is the one sending the newsletter. Yeah. But then the one you saw is actually our FL. That time our LCP was a bit busy, so that's why our FL was the one sending out. But usually it's the LCP. Yeah.
Okay, thank
you. UPM also got free transport. Our free transport is actually based on your relations with the insider people in HEP1. If you're good with them, like good relationship with them, then they'll be like, oh, it's okay, I can arrange for you. If not, they'll ask you to pay.
Okay, if you don't have any more questions, then you can put a call so I can sort of know. If you're still thinking, then you can think. Okay, so I think we'll proceed lah. So once again, very thank you for Natalie for sharing us on how she and the whole JB managed the whole UR. I didn't even know that your your whole EB team can even to the UR itself. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks everyone. Wait, I'll start sharing.
Okay.
I hope you guys learned something lah. Okay.
Okay, yeah, so yeah, that's all. Actually, today only cover UR, so today more like, yeah. Then here is the announcement and reminders. Yeah, so I think you guys also know already, which your PM has covered. So we have the R&R icon, so we are using the rise of the Isaacers. So basically this one would, yeah, R&R would have rewards. Yeah, so the timeline overall is week 3 September until week 4 October. Yeah, and then top 3 LCs will also be announced, and then there will be GCP sharing also. Then for PD wise, because our sales peak is actually sales need to run earlier than the B2C partner. Yeah, so our bonus timeline is actually September week 4, which is this week, until October week 2. So you have 4 weeks, yeah, because September have 5 weeks. Yeah, to actually run through. Then we actually got the Santa Claus. Yeah. So this info you actually need to update daily basis. Yeah, so actually in week 3, I was the one who update daily. Anyways, then encourage, yeah. So mainly it's the head of VP would need to update the respective functional score. And then you can actually get the spreadsheet from your LCP. Yeah, and then need to update the actual result. And you don't need to multiple the score. So it actually has a score system. Yeah, which like if you contact lead, you get 1 score, then you get a sales meeting, you get 2 score, but you don't need to do the maths because the formula has done it already. Yeah, and then if you are not sure on how you can fill up the KPI counts or anything, then you can approach me. For me, I just use the HubSpot one. Yeah, and then if let's say there are certain KPIs not applicable, but I think all is applicable here because it's the HubSpot one. Yeah, then can change to weekly update. Yeah, and then so basically the first milestone, whoever who achieve, right, you can get your whole LC, not you, your whole LC can actually get 3 months subscription of Disney Hotstar. Yeah, so if you are a fan of, I don't know, Marvel, especially I think in December there's the November there's a Hawkeye one, right? Yeah, anyways, yeah, if you like to watch, then you can watch together with your whole LC lah. And then in terms of the final destination, the second, big prize, that is still being kept as a secret. Yeah, so wouldn't be revealed yet. You guys try to unlock the first one first lah. Yeah, so we will have 3 LC who can win. Yeah, so that's all for the R&R icon. Moving on is the functional visit, just to remind everyone. So you can actually click here to refer for the agenda. It's also the same site to actually go into the preparation checklist also, which is the market research, industry research, sorry. Yeah, because like mainly on the session, the session that will be delivered by me on the project need industry, this one would need the industry research, and also keep your IGV accountable also because they have their own external research also, okay? Yeah, and then, okay, next one is, okay, so regarding the performance contribution tool, so if let's say you have any FP sales one, then need to document here because got the performance contribution, where I'll also go through. Then, yeah, so basically this one, last time is update to you guys is update on 17 September for August one. Yeah, then the monthly routine will actually be 5th of every month, meaning for, let's say, if this month you manage to get any MOA sign, right? Then in October 5th, before that, then need to update on this one. Then I'll actually cross-check and we'll send the invoice. And also the new email signature thing that downscale previously. Yeah, so if you haven't changed, remember to change. And then for this one, yeah, so really sorry for now that still don't have the posting form because actually for marketing site, they are defining on the, the channels on which one need to post what content, etc. Yeah, so I think I'm aligning with Mimi to finalize this one. Then by the time she finalizes, we'll have the posting form. If you want to post any LinkedIn stuff, then you can always approach Xiaotian. So I think you guys also met her in B Summit. Yeah, so that's all for today's meeting, and call to action I also put here. If you got any of your own, you can update here also. So time for feedback.